Well, that's a problem. But not my fault. I did everything I could, and you did too. Also, why are you still here?
Gee, I wonder why a force that we just liberated wanted to attack us. Maybe it has something to do with this.
It would be so awesome. It would be so cool.
Yeah, that'll probably do it. And the fact that she doesn't see that those two issues are directly linked is just amazing. And no, she doesn't believe that they're linked. This comment right here, that's how locals become insurgents. They do that on their own. And this just goes to show that just because someone is a veteran, it does not automatically make them an expert in war or even counterinsurgency. And when you point that out to them, one of their first things is to throw up the veteran card. That is to say that they claim that since they were there, they know better than other people, and that other people, since they aren't veterans, are not qualified to speak on that. Even going as far as to say they're just using leftist tactics against leftists. So let's really get into it. Hey, I'm Celt. I'm a leftist, I'm a veteran, and I was over there also. And another interesting fact, me and her, we shared the same job. You see that 35 mic over there? That's human intelligence collector. That's also what I am. The difference is, I paid attention in the schoolhouse while obviously she didn't. There are two main things that an insurgency needs to survive. Now there's other things they need to succeed, but without these two things, an insurgency cannot survive. The first one is state sponsorship, meaning an outside state funneling money, training, and resources into that insurgency. Now, an insurgency can supplement this with things like extortion and drug sales, but without that link to a larger entity funneling resources into it, it cannot survive. And the American government knows this, because that's one of the main missions of the Green Berets, to go establish and support insurgencies against America's enemies. Now, the second thing is just as important as the first. An insurgency needs the support of the local population to survive. And this is where every time America messes up, especially in Iraq, because of stuff like that and how American soldiers treat the local population. Why would you support your liberators when the liberators treat you like the previous oppressor did? Why would you pick the liberator over the oppressor when they both torture you? Look at Abu Ghraib. One of the key turning points in the Iraq war against al-Qaeda and the Islamic State of Iraq, the organization we now call ISIS, was the creation of the Al-Anbar Awakening, or Sahwa. The awakening was when Sheikh Abdul Sattar Abu Risha started arming the local populace and turned it into a militia to fight back against al-Qaeda and ISI. And this was in Al-Anbar province during the height of al-Qaeda's operations there. You've probably heard of the city of Fallujah. Fallujah is in Anbar. And this was so successful because it was not us, the Americans, organizing this. This was the locals saying, enough is enough to al-Qaeda and the Islamic State. This was so successful that we brought Sheikh Abdul Sattar to the United States to meet with President Bush. This was so successful that it put a giant target on the back of Sheikh Abdul Sattar by al-Qaeda. And despite us attempting to warn and protect him and his bodyguards were killed by a roadside IED near his house. But the Anbar Awakening, the Sahwa, was so important to the fight against al-Qaeda in Iraq that the death of Sheikh Abdul Sattar Abu Risha did not end the awakening. Sheikh Abdul Sattar Abu Risha's brother, Sheikh Ahmed Abu Risha, took over as leader of the awakening after Sheikh Abdul Sattar's death. And with the work of Sheikh Ahmed Abu Risha and his help, we were able to push the awakening into a national movement within Iraq to fight back against al-Qaeda and the Islamic State of Iraq. So when people tell you the Iraq War's main turning point was the United States military surge of 07 and 08, that's part of it. But without the awakening, without the Sahwa, that wouldn't have done anything. But even with all that, we failed in our mission in Iraq. Because even with all that, to include the deaths of Abu Umar al-Baghdadi and Abu Hamza al-Mahajir in 2010, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi was able to rebuild all of it into ISIS as soon as we left. And a key reason is the mentality like that of forces going, who cares about the local population? Who cares what happens to them? Because when you treat the local population like that, they lose their trust in you. They lose their faith in you. And you lose their support. And when you lose their support, you lose your war. But overall, what's really disappointing in all this is a humanter should know how important rapport is.